I'm Carl Azus, and this is CNN Student News. Today, December 5th, 2013, there's no such thing as the Soviet Union. When your parents were growing up, the USSR was huge, literally huge. When it existed from 1922 to 1991, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was, by area, the world's largest country. That was one nation made up of 15 republics. And as the Soviet Union broke up, those republics all became independent countries. Ukraine was one of them. Right now, it's in the middle of a political crisis. Protesters are in the streets demanding change in their government.
This isn't the first time Ukrainians have occupied Independence Square. Back in 2004, it was filled with people trying to overturn a presidential election result they didn't trust. It became known as the Orange Revolution, and it was successful. It triggered hope not just here, but across Europe and the United States that this former Soviet republic was firmly on the path to a democratic future. But that optimism didn't last. The man whose initial election victory was overturned by the Orange Revolution was this man, Viktor Yanukovych, but his opponents weren't very effective while in power. So in 2010, he made a striking political comeback, winning the presidential election. Since then, his critics say he has done little to fix the economy or corruption, while using the courts to punish political rivals, most notably the former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko, who's in jail convicted of abusing power while in office. Yanukovych's support base is largely in the east of Ukraine, where people identify themselves more closely with Russia, both ethnically and culturally. The people who are on the streets calling for Yanukovych to go are mostly from the centre and west of the country, those who see themselves more distinctly as Ukrainian and European. They were deeply disappointed when Yanukovych announced he would not be signing agreements that would have locked Ukraine in step with the European Union. What these people want are European standards in the economy, rule of law and politics. Many think that Ukraine is a long way behind the other Eastern European countries that were once dominated by the Soviet Union as well. They believe a European future will bring greater prosperity and democracy, modernise the country and ultimately improve everyone's quality of life. Phil Black, CNN, Kiev.
Is this legit? Detroit is the capital of Michigan. Not true. Lansing is the capital, but Detroit is the largest city in the state.
And it's the largest city to file for bankruptcy. That's when a person, company, or in this case, a city, doesn't have enough money to pay its debts. The financial crisis hit Detroit and its auto industry hard. People moved away, businesses left town. It all added up to less money for the city's government. By declaring bankruptcy, Detroit can restructure its budget. That could mean cuts for current and retired city employees.
I did everything I could. I did my part of the bargain, and now this is their part of the bargain.
Promises made to city workers. Now those promises can't be kept because Detroit is more than $18 billion in debt.
We paid a percentage of our wages every year into that. So it's not something that's being given to us. It's our money.
Detroit Emergency Manager Kevin Orr filed for bankruptcy, and he's proposed cutting the city's debt by 83%. That will hit city workers and retirees. Is it likely that they're going to have to see some sort of concessions made?
They're going to have to be some concessions, because that's just the reality.
Government officials say it's gotten this bad. 78,000 abandoned buildings, 40% of the streetlights don't work, and average police response time is 58 minutes.
When you call the police now, you wonder if they're coming.
Michael Wells and Janet Whitson worked for the Detroit Public Library for more than 30 years. What do you think this bankruptcy means for you?
Well, I think it's going to possibly mean a reduction in my monthly pension check.
I believe at this point it would mean I would lose my home.
They're willing to take cuts if the city improves.
If I've given up something, okay, and I now have a police department that responds on a 911 call, okay, if I have EMS when I'm having an emergency, if the lights are turned on in the city, but if it's simply to pay off the bondholders, all right, and the insurers, and all of these other issues are still there, then not only has my city not improved, but I've gone down further as well.
What would happen if we didn't declare bankruptcy? Detroit would continue to go downhill. And downhill to what point? So while people say this will probably be the lowest day in Detroit's history, isn't that a good thing instead of having a lower day tomorrow?
And now Detroit not only faces the stigma of bankruptcy, but also millions and millions in legal fees in order to exit bankruptcy. There is one thing that everyone hopes, and that is that there is a brighter future ahead for the Motor City. Poppy Harlow, CNN, Detroit.
It's time for the shout out. Chimpanzees are classified as which of these? If you think you know it, then shout it out. Is it monkeys, lemurs, apes, or tarsiers? You've got 3 seconds. Go. We're not monkeying around when we tell you that chimpanzees are apes. That's your answer, and that's your shout out.
So chimpanzees are apes and they're primates. They are not people. But one group thinks chimps should have some of the same rights as people. And now that debate could be heading to court.
It may seem like an unusual statement that an animal should be recognized in some ways as a person.
They understand that they have choices that they can make and how they want to live their lives.
Steve Weiss founded the Non-Human Rights Project, a group that says, based on scientific evidence, chimps deserve some of the same rights as humans.
We want to show that the chimpanzees also have autonomy, and that means that they can choose to live their lives in the way that they want, similar to the way that we can choose to live our lives the way we want.
In a landmark lawsuit filed in New York Supreme Court, they want civil liberties for chimps held in captivity.
They're using a time-tested legal maneuver called habeas corpus, which essentially means free the body. And it's been used throughout the years to free people from what's been considered an unjust incarceration. Essentially, under the law, a legal person doesn't have to be a human being.
The suit was brought on behalf of 4 chimpanzees being held in the state of New York. One of the chimps is 26-year-old Tommy, who lives caged on his owner's property in Gloversville.
No chimpanzee should live the way Tommy lives. He is essentially in a chimpanzee solitary confinement jail. All he can see is one bleak day after another in front of him, just the way we would if we were in solitary confinement.
The 91-page memorandum filed by the NHRP refers to Tommy as a person illegally imprisoned, demanding he and the others be relocated to sanctuaries, and says this court must recognize that Tommy is a common law person entitled to the common law right to bodily liberty.
We intend to file a wide variety of cases in which we argue again and again that certain non-human animals, at least, such as Tommy, are so cognitively complex or so autonomous that they should no longer be seen as legal things without any rights.
Tommy's owner has told reporters that Tommy is one of many chimps he's rescued from abusive or neglectful homes. He says he cares for the apes until they can be moved to sanctuaries. The owner also says Tommy's cage opens to an outdoor area. It's inspected regularly and meets state and federal standards. Mascots in today's roll call are awesome, and they could all come straight out of history books. The Vandals, they're from McCall Donnelly High School in McCall, Idaho. The Saxons in Spokane, Washington. These Saxons represent Ferris High, save Ferris. And the Vikings from Central Cabarrus High in Concord, North Carolina. You would think that a thief would want to avoid being caught on camera. Apparently that message hasn't made it to nature, because when an eagle absconded with this video camera in Australia, it had no reservations about getting some FaceTime. Talk about a bird's eye view, y'all. Listen, I know selfie was named the word of the year, but this might be taking it a bit far. Doesn't seem like the most sophisticated plan. Whoever came up with it might have been a real bird brain. But besides, if it gets away with this stunt, there's just no telling what it'll try next. We'll be beat tomorrow to wrap up the week. Have a great day.